Good morning, everyone. It's time for power. My name is Amanda, and welcome to the 75-minute power flow. For today's practice, you may just wish to have any props that you typically use during your normal practice. So maybe a block, a strap, a bolster, any of those things that you normally use. I won't be calling for those things specifically, but if you typically use them, feel free to grab those. And we will meet on our mats in child's pose today. Okay, so take your time getting set up. It's 75 minutes, so we got some time. And as you're ready, walking those knees wide on the mat, bringing the big toes together. Work to sink the hips back towards the heels, and just take a moment here, maybe rocking the hips side to side. Getting a gentle start on the day, and then walking the arms long on the mat, allowing the elbows to come down, allow the forehead to come down to something. And before we settle in completely, maybe you bring the hands closer to you, pressing the hips closer towards the heels, and then soften back down towards the mat. Closing down the eyes. Arriving in the present moment here. Trying to bring your awareness and your attention to only the things that lie within the four edges of your mat. And really, those things should just be your mind, your body, and your breath. Beginning by settling into the body, just scanning from head to toe. And instead of taking the inventory of those tight spaces, just as you allow your mind to walk down your body, just try to soften into any space that you find. So if you notice the fingertips are active on the mat, try to soften the hands into the mat, soften the elbows. Maybe even allowing the shoulders to creep up by the ears. Trying to soften into those outer hips. And then bringing the attention to the breath. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. As you deepen the breath, maybe you send it to the back of the throat, creating that ujjayi breath. As we begin to warm the body up from the inside out. So this is a great breath for helping us open up from the inside. Finding a few more rounds of that audible breath just like that. And on your next exhale, if you notice that ujjayi breath caused you to tighten up, go ahead and soften back into the mat. As we take a final moment to set the intention for your practice today. And as you're ready, begin to flutter the eyes open. Inhale, lifting the gaze forward to the thumbs. As you exhale, walk the hands over towards the left side of the mat. Return your heart, return the forehead towards the earth, maybe gazing underneath the left armpit. Try to find a nice stretch through that right side, pressing out slightly through the right hip. If that right shoulder is popping up, spiral it down towards the earth. Pressing out through the right ribs. See if you can keep the depth and maybe walk the hands a little further to the left. Finding additional length in the stretch. And then slowly picking yourself up, walking through center. And then all the way over to the right side. As you're ready, lower the heart, lower the forehead down towards the earth. And feel the stretch this time through the left side, pressing out slightly through the left hip, spiraling left shoulder down. Working to lengthen through the left side of the body, all the way from the left pinky finger through the left hip. And as we find one more breath here, maybe walking the hands a little further over to the right. Inhale, lifting the head up, drawing yourself back to center, coming into your child's pose. As you inhale, rising up, passing through table. As you exhale, allow the hips to crash forward, legs extend behind you. Draw the shoulders back and lift the heart. So softening the hips forward, keep the chin tucked slightly, and exhale, bring the legs back in. Press hips back to heels, child's pose. Going through this flow a few times just to warm up. Inhale, shifting forward. Exhale, hips crash, open up. And then press it back, child's pose. Inhale, hinging forward. Allow the legs to extend, hips to crash. Shoulders open up, chest opens up. And then send hips back to heels. 3 more just like that with your own breath. Last one. Meeting back in child's pose. This time we'll shift it forward, coming to hands and knees, tabletop pose. So walk those knees together, hands come underneath the shoulders, and then lower down to the forearms. And from here, maybe interlacing those fingers, or maybe the arms are parallel with the entire forearm on the mat, your choice. Elbows underneath the shoulders, and then we'll step one leg back, nice and strong, toes come to the mat, and then the other coming into our forearm plank. So if you notice your elbows are wider than your shoulders, try to walk them in so they're right underneath. Tuck the tailbone under, lengthen the crown of the head forward. Push the back of the heart towards the sky. Take a deep breath in and out. Inhale, lower the hips down to tap on the mat, lift the heart. Exhale, draw belly button to spine, tuck the tailbone under, coming back to forearm plank. Inhale, lower hips to tap, lift the heart, draw the shoulders down and back. Exhale, tuck it under, coming to your forearm plank. And again, just finding some movement here. So today's practice will be a combination of strength and stretch. So we'll be doing a lot of dynamic movements like this. Two more. Hips tap, lift the heart. Tuck it under. Inhale, tap the hips, lift the heart. And then tuck it back under, coming to your forearm plank. Two more breaths here. And then slowly lowering knees to the earth. Pressing into one hand and then the other. Coming back to your tabletop pose. This time shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. Nice and long through the spine. And then we'll begin going through our cats and cows. As you inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. As you exhale, round into the spine, push yourself away from the mat. Inhale, dropping the belly, gazing forward. And exhale, rounding it out. Back and forth with your own breath pace. Maybe you stay in one or the other and just hang out, feeling into the pose. Few more rounds just like that. And when you feel satisfied, we'll be back in our nice neutral tabletop position. Tuck those toes under and start to sink some of the weight back into the toes. Press the hips towards the heels as you walk the hands in towards the body. Let's get all of those toes tucked under, working to draw the heels close towards one another instead of allowing them to splay out towards the sides of the mat. Hands come to the hips, tucking the tailbone under, send it straight down as you lift the crown of the head straight up. So from here, engaging the glutes to lift the hips away from the heels. Keep that tailbone tucked. We'll do that motion a couple of times. Sit the hips back onto the heels. Try to keep that tailbone tucked as you lift up. Stacking shoulders over hips over knees. Exhale, sink down. Inhale, nice and tall in your kneeling position. Exhale, sink it down. Inhale, coming forward to that high kneeling position. Let's shift the weight into that left leg and step the right leg forward. Try to plant that right heel down to the mat and draw the right toes up towards the face. Keeping the tailbone tucked, draw that right hip back and down. So we want it to be square with the left towards the front of the mat. Keep drawing that right heel back, engaging the right hamstring. So you should feel a little bit of engagement right here. Keep pulling back if you don't. If you notice the shoulders shifting forward, try to restack. And then keep pulling that right heel back as you settle the toes down, coming into a lunge. Keep drawing that right heel back. So in this lunge, you're really engaging that right hamstring again, but also finding some space on the front side of that left hip flexor. Let's keep the hands to the hips for now. Keep tucking the tailbone under. Inhale, arms up overhead. Interlace the thumbs. Begin to pull the pinky fingers apart. Engaging the lats on the back side of the body. Framing the face with the arms. Inhale, lengthen. Find space through the spine. As you exhale, side bend over towards the right edge of your mat. So really feeling some intensity on that left hip flexor, into the left side body. Legs are still engaged, you're still drawing that right hip back. Inhale, rising up through center. As you exhale, hands come down to frame that front foot. Let's slide that right leg back slightly so the ankle's underneath the knee. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee up. Rise up, crescent lunge. Again, finding that stack of shoulders over hips, tucking tailbone under. Slowly begin to bend that back knee down. Draw the quadricep forward. Nice long line of energy from fingertips through the tailbone. Inhale, extend that back leg. Lift the kneecap skyward. Exhale, settle. Inhale, extend that front leg. Exhale, hands to the hips. Nice wide stance here. Maybe you're up on the toes of the back foot. Or maybe you send that back heel down, your choice. Keep drawing the right hip back. As you begin to hinge from the hips, leading the heart forward, pause halfway. So the more you draw the heart forward, the deeper you'll feel that stretch in the right hamstring. Press into the right big toe mound. Find the balance here. Slowly rise back up. rebend that front knee, and then lower down to your low lunge. Keep those back toes tucked under and begin to draw the left heel in towards the left glute. Keep the left foot nice and active. If this doesn't feel like enough engagement in the left hamstring, maybe you walk the hands up to the right thigh. Keep sinking the hips down and forward. And then slowly releasing left toes to the mat. Hands come down to the mat. Step it back, downward facing dog. Maybe walking it out here. And then inhaling high up on the toes. Exhale, coming back down to the knees. Keep those toes tucked under. We're coming back up to that high kneeling position. Tucking the tailbone under. Shoulders stacked over, hips stacked over knees. And this time we'll shift the weight into that right side. Stepping the left foot forward. Trying to plant the heel. Draw the toes up and back. And draw that left heel towards the back of your mat. Tuck the left hip in and down. So that right hip draws forward as the left hip draws back. Feeling the engagement on the left hamstring. Trying to keep the left leg as active as possible. Slowly, keep drawing the left heel back as you bring the left toes down to the mat, sinking forward into your lunge. Still finding that engagement in the left hamstring. Nice and long through the spine. As you inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Hooking the thumbs again, trying to hook in the opposite direction. Pull the arms apart. So finding some separation between the arm bones, between the pinky fingers. Lengthen through the upper body. Deep breath in. Exhale, side bend over towards the left side of your mat. Finding a nice deep stretch through the front side of the right thigh, through the right side body. Inhale, lifting back up. Exhale, hands come down to frame that front foot. Let's walk that left foot back a little bit, tuck the back knee under, rise up, crescent lunge. So same engagements, left hip coming back, right hip forward. Nice deep bend in the left knee. Tuck the tailbone under, and then slowly draw that right knee forward, bend the knee to hover. Keep the upper body nice and long. Inhale, extending that back leg. Exhale, settle. Inhale, extend that front leg. Exhale, hands to the hips. Again, left hip comes back, right hip forward. Leading with the heart, hinge from the hips. Use the hands to help you spill the hips forward as you lift the tailbone up and back. Folding halfway. Now, if your spine starts to round, maybe you come a quarter of the way. That's fine. Keeping that spine nice and long. Find that balance here. Keep lengthening through the left hamstring. Inhale, rising back up. Rebend that front knee and lower that back knee all the way down. Hands can stay on the mat or they can come to the top of that left thigh as you focus on drawing that right heel in towards the glute, keeping that right foot flexed. So we're not using our arms here to pull the leg in because we want to engage that hamstring. Keep imagining you can draw the heel in so much that it will eventually touch the glute. One more breath. Slowly bring those back toes down. Frame that front foot, stepping back to downward facing dog. And again, maybe a wiggle of the hips from side to side, walking it out. As you inhale, rise up onto the toes. Exhale, hinging forward, finding your high plank. Adjust if you need to. putting most of the weight into the pointer finger and the thumb, and the remaining knuckles. Tuck the tailbone under, gazing down but forward. Spread those shoulder blades towards the sky. This is our inhale. As you exhale, roll the heels over towards the left edge of the mat. Allow the left hip to come down as close to the mat as possible. Inhale, back up through center. Exhale, heels over to the right, hips come down. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Keep the arms as straight as possible. Try to keep the whole hand on the mat. Switching sides. Center. Left. Center, core is engaged. Right. Center. Left. Center. Right. Center, one more time each side. Left. Center. Right. Back to center, finding plank. And then lift the hips up and back, finding your downward facing dog. Now we'll settle in and begin finding those movements, bending into one leg and then the other, maybe shifting into plank, and back to your downward facing dog. Taking any movements here that help you open up, help you wake up the back side of the body. Let's find stillness in center, pressing the fingers down but forward, drawing the shoulders down the back, trying to lengthen through the spine. So if that means you have to bend the legs to do that and allow the heels to lift, go ahead, keeping the spine nice and long, pressing the base of the ribcage towards the thighs. Inhale, lift the gaze forward. Exhale, one footprint at a time. Take it slow. Walking all the way to the top of the mat. As you plant feet side by side, find your forward fold. Stay here for a moment, rocking the weight back and forth in the foot and finding that nice central space. So not all of the weight in the heels, not all the weight in the toes, just nice and even. Inhale, halfway lift, find that length. Exhale, fold. One more time, halfway lift, lengthen the spine, lengthen the hamstrings, and exhale, let it go. Bend into the knees, slowly rising all the way up. Circle sweep the arms up overhead. And exhale, thumbs to heart center, Samasthiti. Draw up on the kneecaps. Tuck the tailbone under. Lift the heart. Inhale, circle sweep. And exhale, hinge and fold. Going through a few sun salutations to continue our warm-up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, stepping back, high plank. Feel each movement shifting forward, hug those elbows in, lower halfway down. Flip the feet, take your back bend, rise up. And exhale, lifting the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the gaze forward. Exhale, beginning with the other foot, stepping one footprint at a time all the way to the top of the mat. I know you just want to get there, but taking your time will help you stretch those hamstrings. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let it go. Earth to sky all the way up. Exhale, right back down. Inhale, halfway lift, find that length. Exhale, plant the hands, stepping back. Again, feeling each movement, shift it forward, lower halfway down. Flip the feet, take your back bend, inhale, and exhale. Downward facing dog. One more just like that, gazing forward. This time your choice of how you make your way to the top. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Earth to sky all the way up. Exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, hands plant, stepping back, shifting forward, lower down. And go through your flow. Gazing forward, walking, stepping, hopping to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend the knees, sink the hips, sweep the arms up, chair pose. Keep that spine nice and long. Draw the belly button towards the spine as you tuck the tailbone under, lift up on the toes. Open the heart towards the top of your mat. Inhale, root to rise, maybe a back bend. Exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, feet go back, and go through your flow. Meeting back in downward facing dog. Right leg reaches up and back. Pause here. Send that left heel down to the earth. Exhale, step the right foot forward. Back foot spins down at an angle, rising up to your warrior one. Again, right hip coming back, left hip pressing forward. Active through both legs though. Press out through the pinky toe edge of that back foot. Nice deep bend in the front knee. Lift the back of the heart forward. Inhale, hike the thumbs towards the back of the room. Exhale, hands come down to frame that front foot. Step it back to plank and go through your flow. Inhale, left leg reaches up and back. Again, pausing here. Just making sure you're nice and strong through the upper body. Right heel reaching down. Exhale, step it all the way through. Back foot spins down, rise up to your warrior one. Same engagement as the other side. Square the hips towards the top of the mat. Allow the shoulders to settle down the back. Lifting up on that back kneecap as you settle into the front knee. Inhale, find length through the upper body. And exhale, hands come down. Frame that front foot, stepping back, and go through your flow. Meeting back in downward facing dog. So those of you who've taken my class before, you're probably thinking, this is very traditional. Don't worry, we'll get there. Inhale that right leg up and back. Exhale, step it all the way through. Back foot spins down all the way. Rise up, reverse your warrior. Deep bend in the front knee. Lengthening through the right side of the body. Lift the right ribs forward. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Stepping back to plank. Go through your flow. Other side. Left leg lifts up and back. As you exhale, step it all the way through. Back foot spins down all the way. Cartwheel up, reverse. Lead those left ribs forward as you open the shoulders up towards the right edge of your mat. Sink into that knee bend. Exhale, hands come down. Step it back, plank pose. So we're gonna do that 2 more times. When you meet in downward facing dog, reach that right leg up and back. Exhale, step it through. Back foot spins down. Rise up, reverse. So play around with your pose each time. Maybe you add on, maybe you deepen. Exhale, hands come down. Stepping back to plank. Go through your flow. Left leg lifts. Exhale, step it through. Back foot spins down. Rise up, reverse. Settle in, deepen that front knee bend. Exhale, hands down, step back to plank, and go through your flow. One more time each side. Right leg up and back. Exhale, step it through. Back foot spins down, rise up, reverse. Try to draw that left shoulder back, opening both shoulders towards the left side of your mat. Pressing actively into both legs. Inhale, exhale, hands down. Step it back and go through your flow. Inhale, left leg up and back. Exhale, stepping it through, last one. Back foot spins down, cartwheel up, reverse. Drawing the shoulders open, reach through the left arm. Exhale, hands down, feet back, and go through your flow. Shifting to starting with the left side first, we'll reach that left leg up and back. Exhale, step it all the way through. Lower down onto the back knee, rise up, hanumanasana. Hook the thumbs together, lift the upper body towards the sky. Feel the stretch on the right hip flexor. Exhale, side bend over towards the left edge of your mat. Keep shoulders over the hips. Tuck the tailbone. Inhale through center. Exhale, hands down inside the left foot. Tuck the back toes under, spin the back foot down. Rise up, warrior two. So settling in here, making sure that right hip is spiraling back. Draw back on the left hamstring to settle into the front knee bend, settle into the hips. Gaze down at the front big toe. Make sure you can see it. Tailbone tucked. Inhale. Exhale. Bringing the left forearm down to the thigh or reaching all the way down to the mat, finding your variation of side angle. Keep drawing back on that left hip, that left hamstring, pressing out through the outer edge of the back foot. If you notice yourself closing off towards the mat, try to spiral that right shoulder back while wrapping the tricep under, plugging the shoulder into its socket. Inhale. Exhale, cartwheel both hands down inside the left foot. Walk yourself to face the right edge of the mat. Take a nice wide forward fold. Work those toes in, heels slightly out. Lift the sits bones skyward. Inhaling, halfway lift. As you exhale, bend into the left knee. So not going down into our full skandasana or surfer's lunge. In this lunge, in this side lunge, we're reaching the tailbone back, crown of the head forward. So fingertips are nice and light, maybe you even lift them up off the mat. Back is nice and flat like a table. To add on and challenge yourself, maybe you reach the arms forward. Nice long line of energy from the fingertips out through the tailbone. Sink into the left knee bend. Trying to nuzzle the ribs inside the left thigh. And then either putting your hands down to switch or just switching sides, bending into the right leg, extending the left. Again, finding that length through the spine. Nice flat back. Try to draw the thumbs up towards the sky, keeping the arms in line with the ears. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Extend both legs, find that wide leg fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Bring the hands to the hips, rise all the way up to standing. Sweep the arms up overhead. And from here, we're gonna reach the fingertips up, interlace the fingers. As you exhale, side bend over towards the left, towards the front of your mat. Spreading those right ribs towards the sky. Inhale, rising up through center. Exhale, swan dive, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Keep that back foot where it is. Walk your upper body to face the front of the mat. As you pivot the left toes forward, open up into your triangle. So as you do this, you're gonna tuck the hips under, sweep that right arm towards the sky. Try to find length through the right and left sides of the body, reaching that left shoulder towards the top of your mat. Again, if you notice your right shoulder rolling down towards the earth, try to draw it back and tuck the hips under even more. That left hand can be on the mat. Maybe it drifts up, creating a little space for you. Wherever you're at, exhale, sweep that right hand behind the low back, coming into a half bind, so reaching for the left hip crease. Maybe that left arm reaches forward, continuing to find that length without rounding through the side of the body. Slowly bend that front knee, roll up onto the back toes, Finding a nice long crescent lunge here. Lift the heart, lift that back knee. Maybe you keep the bind and use that right elbow to push the right hip forward. Extending that front leg, and again, keeping the bind or not, we're gonna hinge from the hips, finding that nice long pyramid pose. Back stays nice and flat. Unwind and twist, reaching both arms forward. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Let's drag those left toes towards the back of the mat with as straight leg as possible. Finding downward facing dog. Inhale, shift it forward to plank, and go through your flow. Meeting back in our downward facing dog. On your inhale, right leg reaches up and back. Exhale, step it all the way through. Lowering down onto the back knee. Sweep the arms up, finding that low lunge. Hook the thumbs together. Lift the heart, lift the ribs skyward. As you exhale, side bend over towards the right side of your mat. Keep the tailbone tucked here, so not working towards a back bend, just working towards a side bend. Inhale, rising back up. Exhale, hands settle down inside the right foot. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee, spin the back foot down, rise up to your warrior two. And again, finding that depth here, spiral that left hip open, pressing into the outer edge of the foot. Draw back on the right hamstring, tuck the hips, tuck the tailbone. Work to pinch the shoulders together on the back. Keep opening up through that right inner thigh. One more deep breath in. Exhale, right forearm to right thigh. Left arm sweeps up by the ear. Maybe you stay here, finding that nice diagonal line of energy by drawing the left hip open, reaching through the left fingertips, or maybe you reach all the way down to your mat, finding that same openness. Your pose, your choice. Notice the engagement in that right hamstring, pulling it towards the back of the mat. One more deep breath in. Exhale, both hands come down inside the right foot. Walk yourself to face the left side of the mat. Toes in, heels out. Take that fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. This time bending into the right knee first. Again, settling, trying to settle the ribs down inside the right thigh. Reach the tailbone back. Find a nice stretch on that left inner thigh. Maybe staying here, nice and light through the upper body. Maybe light enough to reach the hands forward. Staying nice and low, bend into both knees, switch sides. Adjust the tailbone if you need to. Continue to reach it back. Crown of the head reaching forward. Belly and back muscles engaged, holding you here. Everyone bring those hands down to the mat. Extend both legs. Take your fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Bring the hands to the hips, drawing yourself all the way back up to standing. Inhale, arms up overhead. This time, we'll reach the fingers skyward. As you exhale, side bend over towards the right. Again, towards the top of the mat. Drawing that left shoulder back. Inhale through center. Exhale, hinge and fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Keep the back foot where it is. Walk yourself to face the front leg. Right toes rotate forward and open up into your triangle. Again, building up from the ground up or lifting those fingertips, those base fingertips away from the mat, finding your depth in the pose. Keeping in mind the goal is not to get the hand to the earth, it's to continue to find that length through the side of the body. Both sides are different, so listen to what this side's telling you. This is normally the first side we come into, so maybe this one actually feels better. Draw the inner thighs together. And as you exhale, left hand sweeps behind the low back, coming into that half bind. If you're ready, reach that right arm forward, finding length through the side body. Use the left hand to draw the right hip back. Slowly bend into that front knee, roll up onto the back toes, rising up into your crescent lunge. Adjust the back foot if you need to. Continue to draw the right hip back with the hand and press the left hip forward with the left elbow. Begin extending that front leg, and again, if you need to adjust the stance, keep that right arm reaching. As you exhale, leaning forward, nice long spine. Reach through the right fingertips, draw the right hamstring back. Slowly unwind, untwist, left arm reaches forward. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Drag those right toes towards the back of the mat to find your downward facing dog. Inhale, shift it forward and go through your flow. Meeting back in our downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up and back. Bend the knees, stack the hips, open up. So send that right heel down towards the mat. As you open up through the left hip, draw the left shoulder down. Inhale, lift left knee a little higher. Exhale, step it all the way through. Again, we'll come up to warrior one. So spin that back foot down. Settle into the legs here. Instead of taking a back bend, work to tuck the belly in, tuck the tailbone under. Exhale, hands to the hips. Extend that front leg. And again, drawing left hip back, right hip forward. We're gonna lower down halfway, or whatever it is, as low as you can without letting the spine round. Inhale, straight back up. As you rise up, hug the inner thighs together. Exhale, lower down halfway. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower, lead with the heart. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Last one, lowering down halfway. We'll extend that right arm down to the mat or to a block as you spiral open towards the left edge of your mat. Draw the left shoulder back and then lift the left arm skyward, finding your revolved triangle. Really drawing those inner thighs together. Lengthen the right shoulder towards the top of the mat to keep the length through the side body. Inhale. Exhale, cartwheel that left hand down to the mat. Again, we're gonna press down into the hands to sweep those left toes back, finding downward facing dog. Inhale, shift it forward and lower down. Going through your flow, and we'll meet back in downward facing dog. Right leg reaches up and back. Bend the knees, stack the hips, open up. So keep sinking the base of the rib cage towards the left leg. Open up through the hips. Draw the right shoulder down. Inhale. Exhale, step it all the way through. Warrior one, rise up. Find your foundation here. Tuck the tailbone. Press out through the back leg. Exhale, hands come to the hips. We'll extend that front leg. And again, we'll find that half lift here. Remember, both sides are different. So maybe you make it a quarter of the way this time. And then draw straight back up. The focus, again, is on that right hamstring. Drawing right hip back. Feeling the intensity on the back side of the right leg without letting the back round. And then using the inner thighs to lift you back up. Lower halfway. And lift. lower, lift. Last one, lowering down, lengthen the crown of the head forward, collarbones forward. Exhale, left hand down to the mat, opening up towards the right side of your mat, and then maybe extending that right arm skyward. Try to bring the weight into the fingertips here maybe, so you're not dumping all of the weight into the heel of the hand. Even though we're in this deep twist, we're still reaching up towards the sky, nice and light through that left side of the body. Spiral that right hip back and in. And then exhale, right hand down to the mat. Sweep that right leg back to downward facing dog. Inhale, shifting forward to plank. And exhale, go through your flow. Meeting back in downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg reaches up and back. Exhale, step it all the way forward. From here, finding that runner's lunge, heel toe the left foot all the way over towards the right side of your mat. Inner thighs working together. This is going to be our inhale. Try to find a nice long spine here. As you exhale, send that left knee down towards the mat, opening up into a quasi pigeon. Inhale, draw that left knee back up, finding that runner's lunge. And then exhale, settle in, opening up in towards your pigeon pose. Inhale, draw the inner thighs together, plant the left foot, and then open up, sink the hips down and forward. Few more just like that. Plant the left foot, runner's lunge, open up. Slowly bringing that foot back to the mat. One more, open up. And then meeting back in our runner's lunge, bringing the left toes towards the center of your mat. Walk yourself to face the right edge of the mat. Back foot spins down all the way. Left toes point towards the front corner of the mat as you sink down into your skandasana. So this is our nice deep surfer's side lunge. Those right toes rotate up towards the sky. If you can, today, use that left shoulder, that left tricep, to press the left inner thigh open and twist towards the back of your mat. You can also do this with the hands, with one hand on the mat, maybe one hand at the heart. Working to twist towards the back of your mat even more. Holding here. Slowly square your shoulders with the right side of the mat. Hands come down. Walk yourself back to the front of the mat, coming to runner's lunge. Bend the back knee, lower it down to the mat. And extend that front leg, sitting the hips either onto that right heel or just to the inside of the right foot, coming into a half hero pose. Most likely that right knee is splaying out towards the side. We want to draw it in to meet the left. Now, this is probably intense enough for some people. If you'd like to stay here, please feel free to stay here. Otherwise, we're going to sweep that left hand behind, planting the fingertips facing backwards. As you inhale, we're going to lift the hips up and forward, lift the right arm forward, bend into the left knee, press the hips forward, coming into a modified camel. Feeling a nice stretch on that right hip flexor. Lifting the heart skyward. Keep pressing the hips forward. Slowly releasing down, coming back to that half hero pose. Use the hands to frame the legs, to lift the hips up, plant the left foot down, and sweep the right leg up towards the sky, coming into your standing splits. Hands can stay on the mat for support, or maybe that left hand comes behind the left ankle. Wherever you're at, choose to lift the right toes skyward, finding a nice deep stretch on the left hamstring, gazing towards your leg or gazing towards the back of the mat. One more breath here. If you have the bind, slowly release. Bend that front knee, release the right leg long behind. Rise up, crescent lunge. Deep breath in. Exhale, hands pass through heart center. Begin to twist open towards the left side of your mat, and then hook a right elbow outside the left thigh. Keep lifting that back kneecap skyward, making sure the weight's evenly distributed through those back toes. Try to draw the crown of the head towards the top of the mat. If you'd like to, maybe you play with extending the arms. Maybe if you're a binder, you come into that revolved reverse bind. Just take a moment to play around here. Slowly unwind and twist. Everyone meeting with the hands back at heart center. Inhale, rising up through center, clean the slate, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step it back to plank and go through your flow. Meeting in our downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg up and back. Exhale, stepping it all the way through. Finding that runner's lunge right here. And then inching those right toes over towards the left wrist. From here, this is our inhale. Exhale, lower that right knee out to the right side of your mat. Keep the back leg engaged, coming into a floating pigeon. And then pull the right knee back up. Exhale, settle, sink the hips forward, lift the heart. And then draw the knee back up. A few more just like that. It's working to open up here, all around the hip. One more. Planting that right foot down, walk it towards the middle of your mat, runner's lunge. Take yourself to face the left edge of your mat. As you keep the bend in that right knee, sink the hips towards the heel, rotate the left toes towards the sky. Settling yourself down here, taking a slight twist towards the back of your mat, hands on the mat, or using the right tricep to press that right inner thigh open. Draw the shoulders together on the back. Try to open the heart. One more breath here. Slowly unwinding, release, hands come to the mat. Walk yourself to face the front of the mat, runner's lunge. Lower down onto that back knee and sinking the hips back onto the left heel or just inside of it. Finding your variation of a half hero pose. And again, if that left knee is trying to work its way to the side, try to draw the knees together, evening out the hips. Your choice, stay here, working on sitting up nice and tall, keeping the tailbone tucked, or sweep the right hand behind you, fingertips face away. As you inhale, lift the hips, lift the left arm, bend into the right knee, and take a back bend. Press the hips forward as you lift the heart skyward. If you're having trouble breathing here, you probably want to come out a little bit. And slowly pressing rewind, meeting back in that half hero. Bring the hands to frame the legs. Press into the fingertips to draw yourself back to runner's lunge. And lift those left toes up and back, standing splits. Working to lengthen the crown of the head towards the mat. Hands on the earth or take that bind. Lift those left toes high in space, nice and active. Making all those little micro adjustments here, one more breath. Slowly releasing the leg if you have it. Bend into the right knee, send the left toes back. Rise up, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands to heart center. Begin to twist open towards the right edge of your mat and hook left elbow outside left thigh. Once you settle in, beginning to stack the shoulders, beginning to hug the inner thighs together. Now is a little bit of playtime. You can stay here. You can open those arms up. You can take that revolved reverse bind by wrapping the left arm underneath the right thigh, right arm behind the back. If you wanted to, you could always try for an arm balance here. Again, playtime, your choice. Take what you need, take what you want. One more breath in. Slowly unwind and twist. Clean the slate. Exhale, hands to the mat. Stepping back to plank and going through your flow. Inhale, right leg up to the sky this time. As you exhale, settle the right foot back down to the mat, but outside the left foot, so the pinky toes come together. Begin to walk the hands towards the back of your mat, coming into a cross-legged fold. You can bend into that left knee as much as you want, but keep the right leg as straight as possible. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, walk yourself over towards the left side of the mat, maybe refolding. Again, keeping the right leg as straight as possible. Feeling a nice stretch here in the IT band. Inhale, halfway lift. Walk the hands back to center, fingertips under the shoulders. Inhale, lifting the right leg up and back, supported warrior three. Nice and long through the back side of the body. Exhale, draw right knee into the nose as you do rising up to your stork. So lift that right knee up as high as you can while keeping the tailbone tucked under, and draw that right hip down so it's even with the left. Bringing hands to heart center. Inhale. Exhale, twisting towards the right side of your mat. Using your muscular energy here to find that twist through the core. You can stay here. Maybe you reach the arms front and back. Maybe you extend the leg. Slowly rebend if you've extended. Draw the hands back. Press rewind, come to center. Deep breath in. Exhale, standing splits, hands come down. Right leg goes up and back. Again, option to bind if you'd like. Release, inhaling, halfway lift. Exhale, begin to walk the hands forward. Keep that right leg lifted. Coming to your three-legged dog. Inhale, shift it forward, three-legged plank, and go through your flow. Meeting back in downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up and back. Lift the toes high. Exhale, crossing left leg behind the right, bringing those pinky toes towards one another, and then walking hands back towards the standing legs, coming to that cross-legged fold at the back of your mat. This time, maybe softening into that right knee if it feels good, keeping the left leg nice and straight. Inhaling, halfway lift. As you exhale, walk yourself towards the right side of the mat. Take a twist. If you don't really feel anything, try to work to extend that front leg as well, intensifying the stretch. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, walking the hands back to center, planting the fingertips underneath the shoulders. Sweep that left leg up and back, supported warrior three. Nice and long through the spine. Reach the left heel back. Exhale, knee into the chest, drawing yourself all the way up, finding stork. Find your balance here. Draw the left knee up. Spine's nice and long. Shoulders over the hips. Draw those hands to heart center. Deep breath in. Exhale, twisting towards the left side of your mat. Twisting through the core, draw the belly button in. Actively press the hands together, drawing the shoulders together on the back. And if you'd like, play with extending arms, maybe extending that leg. Most likely it'll be somewhere lower than what you think if you go to extend it. Find that length. Exhale, hands back to center. Draw yourself back to center. Deep breath in. As you exhale, hands come down, left leg reaches up and back. Standing splits. Inhaling, halfway lift. Keep the spine nice and long as you walk the hands forward, coming into your three-legged dog. Exhale, shift it forward, three-legged plank. Go through your flow. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. Gazing forward, walking, stepping, hopping, coming through to your seat. And today we're going to come into a cross-legged seat, but I want you to avoid crossing at the ankles. Try to draw the knees closer together. So maybe crossing more so at the middle of the calf, bringing the left ankle underneath the right knee and the right ankle underneath the left knee. No, it's not double pigeon, but it's just a more friendly variation. If you want to come into double pigeon, that's fine too. Sitting up nice and tall, draw the heart forward, pulling on the fronts of the knees. Take a deep breath in, find length. As you exhale, lead with the heart, draw the elbows and shoulders back. Keep the spine nice and long. Just find some length here. And then as you're ready, begin to walk the hands forward and take your fold. Try to settle in, allowing the upper body to relax or release to something. Reaching the arms forward. Lift the fingertips forward and use the core to help lift you up. Exhale, hands come behind you. We're going to lean the weight back into the fingertips and just switch sides. So switching the cross of the legs. Again, adjusting them so that you're not crossing at the ankles, so that your knees are a little bit closer. Shins as parallel to the top of the mat as they can be without being in your double pigeon. But of course, if you want to go there, you can. And as you're ready, drawing on the fronts of the knees to lift the heart forward. Exhale, begin to hinge and fold. Keeping that long spine, seeing what this side feels like. Curl the chin in slightly so you're gazing down on the mat. And then walk the hands forward and take your deepest fold. Working to settle in here. Maybe those forearms, the elbows settle down to the mat. Slowly walking yourself back upright. We're going to turn to face the side of the mat. So and come into a wide-legged seat. So if you're one of those people in their wide-legged seat who's kind of like this, you might want to consider grabbing a block or grabbing a bolster to place underneath the hips so that you can tilt the tailbone up and back and sit more with that pelvic tilt forward. If you don't need a prop, that's fine, but we really want to be leaning the weight forward as opposed to back and rounding into the shoulders. So wherever you're able to find that seat, and once you've found that nice wide-legged feet, I want you to pick the hips up and see if you can scoot them forward just a little bit, finding an even wider seat settling the heels into the earth, and sending the backs of the thighs down towards the mat. Reach those toes up towards the face. Fingertips tenting in front of you. As we inhale, we'll reach that right arm up. Lean over towards the left side of your mat, reaching for the left toes. Inhale back up, right hand comes down. Left arm reaches up and over. So from side to side, leaning over only as far as you can without allowing that hip to lift. So when you lean to the right, if that left hip starts to lift, pause there and then reverse. Don't go any further. Just back and forth, side to side. Maybe one of these times, without forcing it, you're able to reach the toes of the foot. Keeping the shoulders stacked and open towards the side of your mat. Few more. One more each side. Inhale, center. Tilt the tailbone up and back, lean the heart forward, keep pointing the toes skyward, and then begin to walk the hands forward one step at a time. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, maybe one more step, possibly coming down to the forearms. Again, keeping that spine nice and long. And then going to your edge, wherever that is today. Trying to settle in. And as you're ready, beginning to walk the hands back in towards the body. So this is an option for later. All of the things that we've done during our practice today are opening up into our full splits. So later, not now, but if you'd like to play around with it from this nice wide seat, you can take your hands to frame one leg and then press down into the mat to lift yourself up, rolling to the top of that other foot, coming into your full splits, seeing if that's available to you today, and then just making sure you're even on both sides, coming back to center, framing the other leg, press down, lift the hips up, so that you can roll that back leg down, knee and top of the foot pointing towards the mat, and finding your splits. So again, that's an option. We did all of the building for that today, but this is splits optional, so I'll let you decide on that one later. Let's sweep the legs together towards the top of the mat, bringing the feet down wide, knees wide. Grab onto the front sides of the knees and find some seated cat-cows here. Inhale, draw the heart forward. Exhale, round into the back and shoulders. Inhale, coming up high on the sits bones. And exhale, round it out. Inhale. And exhale. One more in. And allow this exhale to send you all the way down onto your spine. And when you get there, drawing both knees in towards the chest, hugging them close together. Finding a slight internal rotation. And then slowly reaching for the outer edges of the feet or the ankles, finding your happy baby. Lengthen the tailbone long on the mat. Shooting this tailbone towards the top of your mat, crown of the head towards the back. Allow the shoulders to settle down as well. Settling in here. Maybe you play with extending one leg and then the other, coming into yet another variation of your splits. And as you're ready, let's hug those knees back into the chest. Take the arms out to a T. And as you inhale, Think about which side you're going to twist to on the exhale. Allow the knees to fall in that direction. Gazing over the opposite shoulder. Grabbing any props that you might need to allow the knees, to allow the feet to settle down to something, allowing the legs to soften. Let's lift the gaze back to center. Lift the knees back to center. Recentering the hips, readjusting if you need to. And then hugging the knees back in towards the chest and allowing them to drift over to the opposite side. Be sure to mirror whatever you did on the other side as closely as possible. Again, focusing on softening through the lower half of the body. Bringing the gaze back to center. Bring the knees back to center. And from here, sweep those arms down by your side. Let's start by just extending those legs up towards the sky, maybe giving the feet a little point and flex or some circles through the ankles. And you can choose to stay here, or my recommendation for your inversion today is just to go straight into plow. So lifting the hips up over the shoulders, trying to find length through the spine, supporting the middle of the back with the hands. And maybe you keep both feet on the earth. Maybe you bring the tops of the feet to the earth. Or maybe you play with lifting one leg, coming into somewhere between a half plow and a half shoulder stand. And then swapping sides. And if you lifted either leg, allow both of them to settle gently back down to the mat. Bringing the hands back by your side, and then slowly unfolding, coming long on the mat. Maybe you take a moment here to allow the feet to come wide and knees come together, or possibly the feet together, knees wide. Taking a spinal or a low back release that feels best for you. And when the time feels right, extending the legs long on the mat, or maybe choosing to stay in your current position as you soften into the earth, allowing the eyes to become heavy as you drift off into your Shavasana. The great thing about our home practice, you can choose to press stop and extend your Shavasana, or you can choose to begin to reawaken the body, finding small movements, whatever those look like for you today. And then allowing those movements to become larger as they work their way up your body. When the time feels right, maybe taking a nice long body stretch. And then drawing the knees into the chest and rolling over to your favorite side. As you're ready, pressing up to seated on the mat. Sitting up nice and tall as the hands come down by your sides. Inhale, circle, sweep. Exhale, press the breath out and away. Inhale, rising up, reaching up. Exhale, let it go. One more deep breath in from earth to sky. Breathing in the energy and vitality we've created and drawing it home to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Taking this energy out into the world and sharing it with everyone you meet. Honoring the light inside and teacher inner self. From my heart to yours. Namaste. Well, thank you for joining me today. With that 75 minutes today, we played around a little bit more. I did a little bit more flexibility and strength combo as opposed to straight strength. So I hope you enjoyed the class, and I hope you guys have a great Easter. I'll see you next time.